Okay, let's go. Come on.
This is your first time filming, right?
Yeah. Actually, no. I've done it in the past, sometimes with some friends. Used to do funny stuff, you know. Okay, let's see. I think we could sit there. Stay there. Yeah.
Okay, so my focus is depression, but from the aspect of the sociological aspect, like how Greek society perceives this field, and basically I want to raise awareness because I feel like because of the lack of knowledge in the society, it's even harder for people who go through depression or have gone through depression to get over it. I want to raise their awareness, like to know what depression is, what feels like to have depression, and that people who are over it, they're not victims anymore. They've gotten through it and they're healthy now and even stronger than before.
How did you understood that you have a depression?
Okay, so I understood it like a year and a half after it started, and so to understand it, one of my friends, came to my house and we had a discussion, and he said that I have to do something about it and it's not healthy for me because for 1.5 years I was in my house. I wouldn't go out for any reason. I would only go for my classes to the college, and that's it. So he helped me understand it and then do something about it. Suffered from depression for 2.5 years.
That's quite long, I think.
Yeah, it is. And well, I got through it 2 years ago, and I'm healthy ever since, and I'm pretty happy. And yeah, that's it.
Well, you're feeling more ambitious about your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of plans for my future. You know what it is. Yeah.
So in terms of from the field of psychology and psychiatry, depression is a psychological disorder that has both emotional, somatic, and cognitive symptoms. So a patient who feels depressed definitely experiences a lot of low mood, sadness, although it's a common misconception that depression equals sadness. It can actually equal irritability and anger or lack of feeling, a sense of emptiness and flat feeling, and also all sorts of cognitive symptoms, lack of concentration, not being able to make up your own mind, make decisions about even the most basic things in everyday life.
It's just basically you feel like you're all alone, you don't really want to do anything, you feel like no one's there to help you or talk to you, and even if someone tried to be there, they don't have a full understanding of what it's like to have depression. They want to understand, but they just don't really get the full concept of what you're going through. You just don't feel like doing anything. You just want to sit in bed all day and hope that things get better. It was around my senior year of high school. Before that, I was very outgoing and friends with a lot of people, and then my senior year of high school, I just started to kind of feel like I was all alone and there was no one to talk to and no one really understood what I was going through. Well, my parents noticed I was acting a lot different, so they made me go to a psychiatrist. So I went there and he gave me medicine, and I was on these pills for about a year, and during that time I didn't really talk to anyone. I kind of just stayed in my room because I had lost all my friends, and it just was a really hard time for me. It felt like I was going to feel like this forever. For a while it just felt like this was my life and this was it for me. There was no higher achievement or like happiness I was going to feel.
What I think is extremely fascinating with depression is that nearly anyone can get depressed at any point in life. The interesting thing about that is that this is almost like an indication that depression is not just a genetic disorder, but it's an environmentally influenced disorder.
When did you first realize that you suffer from depression?
5 months ago. I sought out a psychiatrist and he gave me some Seroxat. I see a big difference in my way of seeing things. Everything seems a lot more alive. Colors look a lot more vivid.
So now that you started taking the pills, what is your relationship with your parents?
The relationship has become a lot more controversial because of them being able to suppress me more because of me being well, and because of that I couldn't take it anymore, so I reacted. I decided to leave the house and live on my own with my girlfriend, and things have turned a lot more positive than they used to.
So I think that many people are not very what we call like literate. So like mental health literacy is the ability to understand the basic needs of people suffering from mental illnesses, and depression is one of those. Experiencing your child as losing functionality and stating things that are unheard of, like I want to kill myself, or I don't feel life is worth living anymore. This can be really, really scary things to listen to. So concern usually might become a little bit, might pressure the person with depression, but it's definitely better than disinterest and lack of wanting to take action as well. It really depends. It depends on the level of the family and friends mental health literacy. So you hear from all your friends and they have really good intentions, but they're like, you need to snap out of it, don't think about it like that, don't get stuck, and they kind of like push you to overcome all this the depressive episode, and that sometimes can be experienced by the person that suffers from depression as invalidation, lack of understanding, pressure, and that might actually make a depressive episode worse.
At first I really didn't want to tell my friends because I just didn't know how to tell them, and I didn't think that they would understand what I was going through, so I just kept it all to myself, which is why I feel like contributed to me feeling more sad and lonely all the time. I was very afraid that I was going to be stigmatized, because if you tell someone you have depression, they automatically assume all of these things about you, and they really just have a closed mind once you tell them something like that. I think that if I didn't have my family, then I would still be in a very depressed state, and I wouldn't have gone to get help, because they're the ones who encouraged me and made me go get help to treat my depression.
I couldn't take the pressure of parents needing stuff from the smallest thing till the biggest, so I had to leave the house to find myself and calm down.
And how is your relationship with your friends? Do you talk to them, and do they know that you suffer from depression?
Most of them don't, and I don't think they need to, because they lack understanding onto the subject.
There's a lot of people, if you tell them you have depression, they don't believe you. They think you're making everything up, but that's not the case at all. Depression is a real thing. So society is part of the reason I didn't want to tell people I had depression, because it's so stigmatized and people just assume things about you when you tell someone you have depression. They look at you in a negative way.
Society needs to know about depression because they will raise awareness about the problem and it will become a lot more effective.
Don't want people to judge me based on one thing that happened in my life. Like, being depressed doesn't like define who I am as a person. It was a phase in my life that I'm slowly have come to overcome. I feel like a hero to go from feeling like nothing to feeling happy again. Like, it's just really, I'm really glad to like be myself again. I've faced the worst part of myself.
I've overcome it.
Depression does not define me.
I'm stronger now.